Today was a very historic day. September 5th of 2017 will remain within the public conscience for a long time. And part of the reason for that is because this morning, Attorney General Sessions announced that the Trump administration was going to formally rescind the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program spearheaded by the Obama administration 5 years ago. Now, for those of you who were not born in the U.S., just aren't familiar with this policy, DACA was a program meant to assist illegal immigrants who had come here as children and give them a 2 year renewal period to defer from being deported, and allowed them to live here, so long as they had good behavior and just were productive members of society. I guess would be the best way to summarize it. So, I'm a guy who I frankly think illegal immigration is not an issue. It shouldn't be an issue. And I mean that in a general sense that a majority of our crimes are committed by people that are from here. A majority of just really the bad things that go on in the U.S., we as Americans propel and cause. And I do agree with the narrative that most legal immigrants that come here are looking for a suitable and very decent life. So it's something I've never seen as urgent to getting done. But if you remember, back in Trump's announcement speech when he began his presidential campaign back on June 16th of 2 years ago, he had the infamous line about they're bringing drugs and crime and various different offenses that he charged some illegal immigrants with, and he did, to his credit, say some with doing. Now, when I thought about that passage, and I thought about how people kept saying, "Oh, he's saying all of us are this way. He's saying all of them are this way. He's saying they're all that way." I kept thinking to myself, there is a problem with the U.S. where we have groups within our country that focus on things that really are of no consequence to most people. Whether it be trying to condemn meat that people freely eat and choose to put in their mouths because they may have, I don't know, made the chickens get some kind of chemical in them to grow at a rate that's not healthier. They're just various things that really are not as important as a day-to-day, you have to get a job, you have to go to school, or you have to do something to better yourself. And, this policy kind of reminds me of the LGBT, the transgender ban, rather, that LGBT policy, where it's meant more to target and appeal to the conservative base, not necessarily Trump's base, for the prospect of going along with Republicans and appearing to be conservative. Which I found that funny, the anti illegal immigrant thing that a lot of members of the right seem to have, because they lionize Reagan, who granted amnesty to millions of illegal immigrants. But nonetheless, I just really I don't see any way we're benefited by this. It reminds me of the Paris Agreement. It reminds me of the transgender ban. It just, these are things that are being done solely to appeal to a group that he really doesn't need to win over much, because they're already convinced that he's to the right, or at least willing to do things that are traditionally centered toward conservatism. And it saddens me that we have all these families now, they're going to lose relatives who are here by no fault of their own. You can't control who your parents are and where they choose to take you. All I can say is that the biggest ray of light to me is that they will potentially, because there's a 6 month gap, I don't know, maybe try and get citizenship between then and there. I know we have a horrible system that needs reform, but I don't know, that's really the only solution I can see to avoiding this fate. And the most annoying part of today, aside from this even being in existence, rescinding the policy, was when I was watching it on Fox earlier, and not even 5 minutes after Sessions gets through announcing this, you have that wonderful, very liberal, not bought out at all, DNC chair Perez giving this speech, and they did it to where you couldn't hear the words he was using, but you already know the theme. You already know it's about this is a horrible inaction, and we must strike against it, and we have to protect our friends who aren't, the basic pandering nonsense where, they obviously, and one might say, oh, maybe he really believes that. Well, I don't doubt that he really believes that, but if you're looking for a solution to a problem, you look for the solution to the problem. You don't give some hocus pocus speech that we've heard a million times from Democrats in the past. You say, okay, well, we have a 6-month period. Here's what we do. We try to get as many of you citizenship as possible. That doesn't work. You're going to come back into the country legally. We're going to help you do whatever. You see, that's how you actually get things solved and skip over any of the problems that this administration is charging illegal immigrants with having. You know what that problem is? Being illegal. If he really cared about helping those families stay together, he would say, in this 6-month period, me and my fellow wonderful, heroic Democrats are going to help you out, and we're going to get you a job. We're going to do whatever it takes to stop you from being considered illegal. And if that doesn't work, the first thing we're doing is getting you back in here by being able to secure the proper qualifications to be accepted legally. Those are very simple things to do in the classical sense of I will pledge to do this, I will look into this. It's not hard, especially someone with his position. But again, it goes back to that nonsense of, oh, the Democrats are everybody's friend. The Republicans are only for the rich. Neither could be true. I've seen good and bad on both sides. And it really disgusts me that they take an issue, Press Secretary Sanders, I believe, she was talking about, the charge of the administration being heartless for separating families, and then the DNC fundraising off of this policy. And if that's the case, and really from this speech that he was giving, it's very heartless to go and use people who are about to, get this emotional turmoil of having those they care about ripped away from them, and give them these speeches with no substance behind it. It goes back to the platitude argument that we saw from Dorr of TYT give quite some time ago, where they don't specify what exactly they're going to do to address an issue. They just say we're going to address the issue or condemn the issue. And that's exactly what he likely was doing. That's exactly what I've seen come out of his mouth and out of every mainstream corporate Democrat that we've had for the last couple of years. And it sucks that every time I start expressing my distaste for Trump, which is then followed by my distaste for the Democratic Party, it always has to go back to money in politics. But I really want this to be conveyed. They're not going to help you. All these, various people who are affected by this that think, oh, well, we definitely are with the Democrats now, they're on their back. No, they're not allies, they're not assistants. They are just pandering to get votes. Yes, some care, but the ones that really care are going to actually go out and say, here's what we're going to do to assist you with not getting deported. I just can't for the life of me understand where one can, and this is more on the Democratic establishment's mindset, think that because the other person is so bad, people are going to think we're slightly better, and that's going to be enough for us to get back into power. And if that doesn't work, we're just going to take whatever other issue he, states he's against and put that to our list of things we're opposed to. Why? Because he's in favor of it. I really am tired of, obviously the fallout from today. I'm tired of the response from the other party. I'm tired of just all of this illegal immigrant aggression and discussion. No, leave them alone. They don't bother American citizens on any level that we don't see already from our own. If anyone thinks that illegal immigrants are the problem, they're sorely mistaken. We have enough domestic, crime that occurs from people born here, and we just have things that should be focused on over this. So it goes back to that idea that we're not going to address the bigger picture, but stay with that little small portrait in the corner of the room.